Yes, it's
Okay. So yesterday we have seen something related to dimension units. Something related to what? Dimension units. So can you tell me how many dimensions units are there? Can you tell me how many dimension units are there?
which we saw yesterday.
Yes,
Absolute and relative.
correct. So there are two types of units. One is an absolute unit and one is a relative unit. So when you talk about the absolute unit, the units which are used for absolute measurement, that is nothing but the fixed pixels on the mobile fix, inches, like that. But the relative units are the dependent ones. Relative units are what? Dependent one. They depend on the parent, or they depend on the context where things are getting loaded. And at the end, our REM was not working, right? At the end,
Yeah.
yesterday we have seen, so this REM kind of thing was not working, and that was the because, sorry, for the reason what REM says, that root element, sorry, not this. If you go to the fnt.css, can you see here? Let me open this in the finder. fnt.html, fnt.html, and this is fnt.css. So what we have seen yesterday, if you see here, we have given two REM, right? REM means what? EM means to the parent element. So font size which is dependent on the parent element. Font size which is dependent on the parent element. Those who were absent yesterday, they can watch the recording. I already have uploaded on YouTube. This one, CSS3 and dimension units. Hello? So this is that recording. MERN Bootcamp, CSS3 and dimension units. Okay. So when you say EM, whatever font size you have given to the parent, that is nothing but this div. So EM stands for parent element. REM stands for root element. Now here we made the mistake, right? Which means that if I change this unit, if I change this 50 pixels over here, this guy should automatically change. So let's make it 60 pixel as a height, sorry, as a font size, and let's refresh it. This is not happening. This was the concern yesterday. Remember that REM means what? Root element. So who is the root of this P? Who is the root of this P? Root is HTML tag.
HTML.
And here I have forgotten to add what? HTML. I simply added the body. Now if I go here and refresh it, can you see this is changing? If I change this to this, see, I'm not changing this to REM. Remember that. I am not touching this unit font size to REM. I'm not touching this, but I'm changing font size over here. I'm changing font size over here. Now see, this is a bigger, it will automatically become smaller. What is the REM unit? So yesterday I forgot to add this HTML and only body has been added, and that's why it was not in the effect. Correct?
Yep, got it.
REM and EM.
So
REM,
now it's been like, so this is with respect to REM, right? And if you remove like two pixels, two REM, two EF, still it will reflect with respect to as we'll change something from
yeah,
30 to something.
yeah.
It
See
will
now,
change.
yeah. See now. refresh. I'm refreshing it, and
Because
let's
the value was it, so 30 to, yeah, anything
50
bigger
pixel.
or smaller, it should reflect now, right?
Yeah,
Because it's having the parent as the body.
correct. See now. Okay. So here 2em, who is a parent also is this HTML, no problem, and that's why it will consider this also as
We
some.
can do it independently as well as like similar to HTML, like the full body and the body and the full document. That's the reason we have combined that to HTML and body. Otherwise, we could have added different one, right?
Yeah, correct. Now see, this is also one of the selector. We are going to see that if you want to select the multiple elements by its name, if you want to select multiple elements by its name, you can do it by means of comma separated tag names. So it will be getting applied to the HTML also, it would be getting applied to the body also, correct? Hello. So this font size would be getting applied to the HTML also, this tag also, and to the body also. Now my question is that if I remove the body from here, will it work? It's a EM, remember that. Will it work?
It should work because HTML and the body is inside HTML, right? So I'm putting that.
Okay, let us see now. Let's refresh it. Can you see this is working? This is,
So by default, it's taking that as a parent instead of body, right?
yeah. Let's go to the documentation. Let's go to the documentation. Font size, Mozilla. Font size in CSS, Mozilla. This thing, let me open it here. So it's REM, and just scroll below. Yeah, can you see here? Inherited, yes. Inherited, yes means whatever you are applying over here, it would be getting inherited to all its children. You getting my point? Inherited what? See, medium applies to the all elements. It also applies to the first letter and first line, and it is inherited. You getting my point? What do you mean by inherited? So if you apply this to, if you apply some, not some, font size to the parent, it would be getting inherited to all the children, and that's why you are getting body as a font size 150, and that's why this is working. That is the answer. Hello.
Yes.
You got it? So this document is kind of Mozilla MDN web docs. This would be reference for anything. So whatever thing I have prepared from over here, that is by referring to this MDN docs only. So if something is not available here, you may reach to this point, MDN web docs, and that link also I have given here. If you can see, MDN link I have given somewhere. Yeah, here, documentation, HTML5 CSS3 documentation here, and you can go over here. Okay, so under the CSS3 we are learning dimension units. So we have completed this part today, and this was the quick revision for this. Next thing, today's topic, box model, CSS3 box model. Okay, so let's create actually this is day 9. Today is the day 9. I don't know why. I think we have started 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. On the day 1 we didn't create, I think. That's why it's saying day 8. No problem. Let's create today day 09. Okay. Or no problem. We can. But if I make a 09, the thumbnail, so thumbnail will say 08. So actually day 7 means actually day 8. I am going as per the thumbnails. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I don't know why over here, where is the 8? What was on the first day? I don't remember what we did on the first day. Yeah, something we might have done. But remember this. So if you are referring this, okay, let's change it. Why I'm changing it? Because if you want to refer this video and this folder, you might get confused, right? That's why I need to rework on this. I'll do that, but today I will make it 08, no problem. But remember that here 08 means here 09. Just remember this thing. Okay, so let's create index.html and style.css. HTML5, we didn't see what are the features of HTML5 and how it is different from older things, as I told you yesterday and before also. If your HTML document is having this tag at the very first line, this page is compatible with HTML5 specifications. This page is compatible with HTML5 specifications. And now these two tags, you may forget it right now. These two tags, please forget it right now. Presently you don't know what do you mean by these things. So these are the features of HTML5, and whenever we will learn the responsiveness, you will get to know those tags. You will understand meaning of those tags. Okay, now today's topic is something called as box model. So we are going to understand something called as box model today. What do you mean by box model? So here I can say box model. So I'm going in very much details, right? I'm telling you all these things in very much detail. So here you can say box models. Let's have one div over here and link the CSS first. Link CSS style.css. Either you can write in this way or you can refer in the folders way, like in the current directory there is something called as style.css. Okay, in the current directory there is one file called as style.css. Now
one question.
Yeah.
We are using div, right? So we can use section as well, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to check if we can use like
Anything, but the intent, yeah.
I just check the difference that the section can be nested, div can be nested.
No, just a minute. Yeah, there are best practices. We will see that things, right? When to use section and other things. That are the properties of what you can say HTML5. I didn't started that yet, but I'm going to explain it. Few basic things I want to explain by means of normal HTML tags. And whenever we will start the HTML5, or whenever we will learn the HTML5 features, and we will learn the semantic tags, at that time you will get to know what is aside, what is section, what is nav, what is header, what is footer. You'll get to know that thing. but for few basic things are there that you can understand in this. You can understand by means of basic tags like div and div, span, and other things, and that's why I'm using the basic things only, just to make you familiar. Okay, as we discussed yesterday, html body, and here we need to apply the width. We can say 100 vw, height 100 vh. Now what do you mean by vw and vh? Can you please tell me what do you mean by vw and what do you mean by vh?
Viewport height and viewport width. Whatever visible section we can see on the page, that's viewport.
Yeah, correct. Now from where this viewport comes, you will get to know soon. But for now, you can understand whatever you can see on the screen, this visible section or visible area of the browser is called as viewport. Presently, a current definition of the viewport you can understand in this way. A visible section on the browser is called as viewport. Okay, there is other, we need to add something else into this wording also, but later on. But whenever you start creating HTML page, make sure that you will give 100 VW as a width, VW, viewport width, height, viewport height. Right? So this is important. Now to this div, what I want him to do, let's create a class, and here we can say box class. Here I can say dot box. So here we can apply width, say 10%, and height 10% or 10%, sorry, 10%. And let's give some background color to identify it. Or let's not give background color. Okay, let's give it background color cadet blue. 10%, and instead of this, we are not in a day 7, just make day 8 over here. You will get the listing of the day 8. Click on the index.html. Can you see this block we have? This block we have here. Now right click, inspect, and can you see some box over here? And this concept is called as box model. Can you see this box?
We just added div with
That's
the class,
it. Yeah.
nothing in it, and we added what you can say HTML or body tag to that, like the class box with some details.
Correct.
That's all.
Nothing else. So this any question on this code and this code over here? If you have any question, write it in the chat box, or you can speak up as well. No problem.
So, as HTML and body tag does not have anything, do we need to write it, or you just like give it for a reference initially?
No,
okay, sorry.
I just have collapsed it.
Okay.
So it shouldn't confuse you. That's why I have collapsed it, but the content is there.
Yes.
Okay. So here you can see nothing, simple. Div have been added and one class have been applied.
One question here, like so when we say HTML body 100 view height or 100 view width, okay, so that means whatever visible section is available from that 100 pixels, so what is that thing? So I'm not able to understand.
No, this is
10% visible section. Out of that 10% we need to use it.
Yeah, so 10% of this 100 VW. So internal there is a calculator. VW to PX. There is an equation we have. VW to PX. VW to PX. Mozilla doc. Just a minute.
So basically, whatever visible section is there, from that we are taking 100 view width first, and from 100 view width we are taking 10%.
Correct. Correct. That's what we have discussed on the first session, if you remember. So we have discussed that somewhere here. Somewhere here I have discussed. What do you mean by 10%? 10%, if this is 100%, this is 100%. A 10% of that 100% is this.
I got that, but I'm not sure about 100% view width means what? The whole complete page, or whatever 100, whatever visible page, is that meaning by like 100 view width, viewport width?
No, so viewport width, you can say internally it is going to get converted to the pixels only, right?
Oh,
But that pixels would be different for different screens. Okay.
okay.
So 1% of the viewport width, 1% of the viewport height. Just a minute. There is a formula also. I would like to show you that formula. There is a formula also. I'm searching. Okay, I will search in front of you. Just a minute. So here is the page. I have read that somewhere here. I have read it here. But let's Google it. VW to PX. VW to PX. So internally, browser converts it to the PX only. But the viewport things would be different. So here I can say 100 VW. Viewport width. How to convert to the pixel? You can convert VW to the pixel. You can convert VW to the pixel quickly using the converter above. So pixel is equals to viewport width. Viewport width unit VW into viewport width upon 100. So if you can see, 1 VW is equals to this much pixels. Can you see that? So there is a one formula internally. Browser applies this formula. Pixel px is equals to viewport width unit VW into viewport width, actual viewport width upon 100. Hello?
Yes, got it.
So whatever device it is, so that pixels would be different. So as per this formula, pixels would be getting converted differently. Correct? Cleared it or not? You can write it in the chat box or you can say it.
Yeah.
What about other person? Okay. So where I was, I think we were understanding the box model. So whatever you see over here, that thing is called as box model. See, this is actual content. Let's select this box. See, this box is a content. Around the box there is a padding. Around that there is a border, and around that there is a margin. Always remember that this is the, if this is, and that's why I was not using color. Let's remove the color. Now here I can say border 2px solid red. 2px solid red. Can you see this border? Now this, can you see, I'm hovering over here, and height also let's not set in the percent, let's set into the 80 pixels. Refresh it. Now if I'm hovering over, can you see this is the content? Can you see the color when I hover in the box over here? Whatever color over here and the color inside the box, actual box, that is the content. Around the content there is a padding. What I'm saying, around the content there is a padding. Let's write something called as ABC, ABC, or let's give ABC PQR. Okay, ABC PQR, refresh it. Can you see it is adjacent to? Now ABC PQR becomes the content. Now if I select the border, can you see the red becomes yellowish one? Red becomes something yellowish one over there. Can you see red becomes what? Yellowish one. So content, around the content there is a padding. Now let's add some padding over here. So here I can add padding from all four sides, padding, and here we can say 16 pixel. Can you see the content has been shifted? If I say 0 pixel, see here there is nothing, but if I say 20 pixel, can you see one space around the content? See, this much is only content, this much is only content. The space around content, can you see the green color? The space around content is called as padding. The space around padding is called as border, and the space around border is called as margin. Similarly, here I can say here I can say, now see margin 30 px. See now, whole element around the border, some space have been added. See, this is the content. Around the content, whatever you see in the green one, that is padding. Around the padding, whatever you see, the border, can you see that border? Yellow border is in the red color, but the minute I hover it, it becomes yellow because this hover color is this. Margin, can you see the margin? Whatever around the border, whatever the space is there around the border, whatever space is there around the border, that thing is called as margin. This is an interview type question, and experienced people gets confused over here. What is content? What is padding? What is border? What is margin? Content. So if you clear this thing, your web development journey will, or front end journey will be very much easy. Content. Around the content there is padding. Around the padding, the space is called as border. Around the border, there is a space called as margin. So whenever you say margin, what do you mean by margin? People consider that. Now here, if I add the left margin, if I add, can you see this 30? This 30 can be changed, and here I can make 130 left margin, and can you see 130 left margin have been added, and it is like that element has been shifted from this end to this end. Element has not been shifted. Remember that element is at the same position. Element start at this position only. You have not shifted the element, you just have added the space to the, some extra space to the left, little space on the top 30, little space on the right, and here little space on the bottom. Content. Around the content there is a padding. you can set the padding to left, right, top, bottom. In the same fashion, you can set margin to left, right, top, bottom, left, right, top, bottom. In the same fashion, you can set the padding also left, right, top, bottom. Border 2px from everywhere. Well, we can change that also. 10px from the top. Can you see? Border you have added 10px at the top, or you can say 100px at the top. This is the border. 100px at the top. Similarly, you can add to the bottom also 20px border at the bottom. Right? Hello? Box model.
Yes.
So what we are understanding is the box model. Very important chapter. The CSS box model is a fundamental concept in the web design that describes how elements on the web pages are structured and how their dimensions are calculated. It defines how an element's content, padding, borders, and the margins are laid out within the available space. The box model helps you understand and control the spacing and the sizing of the elements on the screen. So what is content, what is padding, what is border, what is margin, whatever I have explained over here, that things are written over here. But here these are not permanent things. If I refresh it, it will go. And if you want to make it permanent, you need to add over here margin. What is margin? Around the border, the space is there, we call it as margin. 30px. Can you see? 30px from all sides. 30px from all sides. Instead of this, you can set margin top 100px. Margin top 100px. Can you see margin top 100px? Margin top 100px. So we can write margin left 100px. I am again saying you are not positioning the element. Go here and can you see you are just adding. You are simply adding the space to the top and to the left. You are simply adding space to the top and to the left. Getting my point? To move the element, we would be using positions. We'll see that later on. So whenever you say margin, at the core there is a content. Around the content there is a padding. Let's add some padding. Padding from all four sides. If you don't want to give left, top, bottom, right separately, left, top, bottom, right separately, and if you want to give from all four sides, say I will give a little more, 180px, refresh it. Now go to the box model. This is the content. Can you see only this much is the content? Around 80px. This is the padding. Around that 2px is border. Let's increase the border also, 10px. Border, content, padding, border, margin. Content, padding, border, margin. So this concept is called as box model. Understood? Any question?
But one thing like as we go to CSS, so if we write, I can say like margin top, margin left, and if you write below that margin or at the top margin, will that impact?
No, I didn't get it. Say
For
that again.
example, we have built high border, right?
Uh-huh.
After that, there is margin top, margin left.
Okay.
But if we, I would say that is like specific, right? No, no, that is fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying we add margin, only margin, not top left, margin at the top or bottom. Will there, I would say, is there like a, I would say, is sequence matters?
No,
So you
sequence
can
doesn't matter.
I'm saying both. So you can put margin as example 50 pixels.
50
And then
pixels.
margin top is like 100, margin left is like 100 pixels.
Okay, just a minute.
These are like,
Just a minute, I'll show you that. Now, if you see this thing, so again, this is a shorthand property. Margin is again what? Shorthand property. If you see this thing, this part, so this property is a shorthand for the following properties: top right, bottom left. Top right, bottom left. Top right, bottom left. Now see, when one value is specified, it applies to all four sides. See here, when one value is specified, it applies the same margin to all four sides. When two values are specified, the first margin applies to the top and bottom. See, when two values are specified, the first margin applied to the top and bottom, and second to the left and right. When two values, first value to the top and bottom, second value left and right. When three values are specified, first margin applies to the top. When three values are specified, the first margin applies to the top, second to the right and left, and third to the bottom. This is what you asked, right?
no, no. So, okay. So if we write margin 50, that means all
Four sides, correct.
Now after that, if we can uncomment that one, the below one. So now we are saying that okay, initially it's a 50%, 50 pixels, sorry. Now we explicitly added margin top and margin left 100 pixels. So will that be like now?
Which would be there, you are saying, right?
Yeah, actually, is that like override the 50 pixels
now? See what will happen. So here you have given 50 pixel, but what is the meaning of one value? One value means what?
All
if you
four sides are 50.
All four sides are 50, and here you have given
Now we are explicitly giving 100. So
100.
only one side change to 100. Right?
Yeah. See now, go here and refresh it. Okay. Now this is the content, and can you see on the margin top, it's 100.
Yes.
So this will always be overwritten over here. Clear? But remember this also. You need to remember this thing. If you supply one value, it applies to all four sides. When you supply these two values, if you supply over to the margin two values, it is a top and bottom. When there are three values, first margin applies to the top, second to the right and left, the second to the right and left, and third to the bottom. And third to what? Bottom. When four, it's a clockwise, top, right, bottom, left. When four values are specified over here, top, right, bottom, left. Now these values, I just have used pixels over here, but these values can be in any form. So 1 or 2 EM. 2 EM. Where is that? 2 EM. Refresh it. This can be 2 EM. what we applied 2em, padding 2em. So this is the content. Can you see 32 automatically came over here. 2em, it has calculated this as 32 automatically. Em is getting converted internally to the pixels. You applied padding in the form of 2em, but here you see something called as 32, right? So any unit you can apply over here, any unit as per your requirement, any unit as per what you can say your business requirement. That is, if you are looking for responsive web design, how to put the position, yeah, that's actually a tomorrow's session. How to put the position, there are 4 positions, we'll see that tomorrow, how positioning will work exactly, how we are going to apply CSS3 positions, this one, not this one. For that we need to use something called as floats. We will see that tomorrow. The tomorrow's topic would be dependent on that part only. Correct? Is that okay? Hello?
Yes.
In the chat box? Yeah. Okay. Fine. So this is about what we can say box model. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm pushing the code. CSS3
So,
box model.
answer normal question. So basically, so whatever sequence we can write the same property multiple times, whichever is at the last, that will take precedence over other, right?
Correct. And more details you will understand in the specificity. The specificity in the CSS determines which style to be applied to the element when multiple conflicting styles are defined. Getting my point? So there is a browser is having some equation for that. We'll see that at the time of specificity. What do we mean by that? We will see shortly. But this is about the box model, and hence from now I would be using margins and paddings so frequently. Okay, I would be using margins and paddings frequently. Now when you talk about colors, so let's go here and I can say new file col.html and here new file col.css. So let me create a new HTML document. Okay, not in the CSS, HTML5. See, just type HT. What I'm saying, never type the code. What I'm saying, do not type the code. Use as much as intelligence. Use as much as intelligence you can use. You can install the required plugins. I'm going to tell you few plugins which will make your life easy, but not now, not in the beginning of the session, because in the beginning of the session, at the time of learning, I want you to type your code, each and every word. But the minute I suggest few extensions, that code also would be done automatically. I don't want you to do that part. I will suggest that things, but later on. In the beginning, you need to type the code as much as possible. But here, the laborial code that has to be generated by someone, like for all HTMLs, this structure is common. So type HTM and select this second one, HTM:5, which is HTML5 document. Change the name, color properties, CSS3, color properties, and link the styling and col.css. Now about coloring. See now, in the HTML5, you can give colors in the named color model way, hex values, right? RGBA function and RGBA function and HSLA function. You can create the colors in CSS3 in these many ways. Hex values, normal colors. See, now let's try to do that thing. Let's have a div, class box, I can say, class box, I can say, and HTML body width 100 VW, height 100 VH. Then I have a div over here, only one div. Do you have created class box? Yeah, dot box. Background color, named colors. Can you see these are the named colors? Alice blue, antique white, aqua, aquamarine. And if you just hover over at the end, you will get something hex value over here, hash F0, F8, FF. To the every color, if you go to the end, well, I'll come to this point little bit later on, but here, antique white, and if you scroll it over here, can you see here you will find one FAEBD7 hex value, and if I select it, and can you see this, and here there is one function called as RGB 250, 235, 215. Means it 3 ways of giving color. Background color can be given in this way, then background color can be given in this way, hash FF 0000 means red. This is the R, this is the G, this is the B. So here we can write like this. First 2 digits are standing for RR, second 2 GG, third 2 BB, RGB. And we know these things. All the colors are getting generated from these 3 fundamental colors, RGB. So this is named model. This thing is called as named model. This thing is called as hex model. So let me comment this out. Sorry. Let's comment this much. Okay. Let's comment this much also. Now background color, I can say RGB. See here, RGB. Okay, I'll come back to this point shortly. Let's comment this in this line. Let's try to create some color. This is a color picker. This color picker is given to you by. Can you see hex values are getting changed? So here you can select. It should be more from this blue. And simply, and if I add third parameter, see 002, 12, RR, GG, BB. And if I change this thing, this thing is opacity. Opacity. How opaque is, if look at this line, look at this top heading, opacity is getting changed. Can you see that? Opacity, transparency. So RGB function, fully transparent, color is fully transparent over here. But the minute if I add 0, 0, last two, one more digits, right, that will come from the opacity. 206054, this is the background color. And if I add two more thing, let's go to the color picker over here. Now VS Code is there, VS Code is suggesting, but whenever we were typing the code before 10 years back, 12 years back, it was not this decent, right? You need to remember few things. But nowadays tools are available, take a benefit of it, right? You can see colors immediately like this, and this is about the opacity. Now all these are the hex values, and that's why if you change this FE, sorry, here if you can, here you can see E9 to the 00. 00 means fully transparent. Nothing means what? Nothing means what? Fully visible. Fully transparent, fully visible. And here you can select the color channel. Here you can select the colors. And if you want to see the, can you see when you open this, you can directly go to the Mozilla documentation here. And can you see this thing is called as named one, this thing is called as hex one, this thing is RGB, next point we are going to see, then RGBA alpha value, then HSL and HSLA alpha value is getting added, right? So I thought you got the thing over here, correct? Named one, there are few colors, they have given name to it. But if these named colors are not satisfying you, you can create your own color. So you can create your own color in the hex format. You either can use the hex values, same thing, or you can use the RGB function, or you can use what? RGB function, red, green, blue. You have passed it, and which color would be getting generated? Here you can select the range of red value. Can you see? Here it is changing 216, 71, 71. A green value also we can change. Okay, so here actually 0 to 255, 0, 0, 0 means the resulting color would be in the blue form. Red is 0, green is 0, and blue is enabled. So here you can say 255. The colors are ranging from 0 to 255. You cannot give 300 over here. This is the problem. The color spectrum starts from 0 to 255. You cannot give values from above 255. Similarly, here also there is a range. These are also hex values. Hex value for R, hex value for G, hex value for B. Now, just a minute. So all the colors over here starts from 00 to FF. or the colors from here 00 to FF, hex values 00 to FF. Okay, similarly 00 to 255, either you can write 0 over here or you can write 255. Purple color is there. Can you see? Okay, I have written 155, sorry. So green is missing in this structure, and that's why it's the combination of red and it's the combination of blue. If you make 255, if you make 255, it would be this color. You getting my point? And if you add RGBA opacity 0, fully, if you see 0 means what? Fully, or you can say transparent, and the opacity is this visible. Can you see 0? It is ranging from 1 to 0. 1 to 0. It's a 0, it is 1. 1
This
means
is just a transparency from 1 to 0, right?
correct.
Last one.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the transparency.
So like color will be same, but just like we are adding transparency. Right?
Correct. And function is also getting changed. If you see, this is the RGBA function. Sorry, this is the RGB function, and over here we get one function called as RGBA, alpha channel, a transparency. It is fully, here you can say it is fully invisible. Well, fully invisible, wrong word, but it's invisible. And here you can say fully not transparent. So you can see complete color, and you are adding some transparency by means of RGBA function. RGBA function. So we have seen background color in the form of named model. We have seen background color in the form of hex model, and we have seen background color in the form of RGB function. We have seen background color in the form of RGBA alpha channel. Here also we have seen alpha channel. So values are ranging from 00 to FF. You can set either 00 or FF. Okay. Now there is a one more type, or there is a one more way of assigning color. Named models, hex values, RGBA function, RGB and RGBA function, and here you can see HSL. Now what do you mean by HSL? We will see tomorrow. A little conceptual thing is there, HSL. So this part we will see tomorrow, how HSL function exactly works. HSL. So when you say HSL, so it is related to hue, saturation and lightness. Can you see that? Hue, saturation and lightness. HSL color. HSL stands for hue, saturation and lightness. It's a color model that's often used by the graphic designers and web developers. Here you can say HSL is based on the RGB color wheel. You might have seen this wheel in kids are having this wheel. In the schools, there is one wheel we have studied related to the color wheel, which if you rotate that wheel, which color would be getting generated? If you do in that way, which color would be getting generated? So that is implemented in the software style, and we will see that what exactly that wheel is. Okay. A lot of few more properties also we are going to see in the CSS. A lot of things are there actually, but until and unless you work with the layouting, right? CSS3 floats, one thing related to the layout, positions, one thing related to the layout. Where is the position? Yeah, then flexbox and other things are extremely important. Scroll bar, font, shadow, we'll see that time to time. But for today's session, this is all for the day. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's meet tomorrow. Thank you.